What's up? What's up? It's the Art the Most Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good? What's good?
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Are we live again?
We are.
We're live again. The people, y'all are in the chat again. Y'all can hear us again. I like it. What's up with you, though, baby? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good, man. Everything's good.
Good.
Masters.
Good.
This is
like
a holiday for people that like golf. So
it definitely is.
The weather is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a podcast. We're gonna be talking some Steelers, talking some draft.
Mm-hmm.
What's there to complain about?
Hey, but you know what else, though? You know what else? Because you gave me that, and I get the Masters. I like the Masters. I like the beautiful air. I like the taco meat. Deke making his appearance. The first live appearance, I might add you for the taco meat.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it wasn't shown with the Pirates jersey.
It wasn't.
Really. The jersey was covering it up.
But seeing the taco meat, it got me thinking. Because I'm seeing the hair. I'm seeing the beard. You know, do you shave your balls?
You have to.
I was just wondering, like, do you? Because today we have a very special episode. A very, very special episode. In fact, today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Yes, indeed. And we all know what they do. This is what they do, Deke. This is what they do at Manscaped, man. Okay? And not only that, they got these super cool things. I mean, this the Lawnmower 3.0. Has this tactical light on it. So you can get after it, man, while you trimming all your delicate parts. Not only below the waist, because Manscaped, they are the leaders in below the waist grooming utensils. Not only that, but you chest area, your little beard if you wanted to. I wouldn't use the same one, but you catch my drift though, right?
Yeah, I can't do the taco meat. I can't. I'm gonna stick with the beard right now. I'm thinking about the stash, so yeah, we can. Clean, yeah, we can think about that. Yeah. But yeah, definitely for the balls, man. And I like that light too. You know, my eyes are bad.
They save them. Don't you want to save them?
Yeah.
Save them. Use the technical light. You don't want to not you. This is the one place you want to see where you're going, right?
For sure, dude.
You definitely want to see where you're going. But more importantly than that, it wouldn't be a good deal if we didn't have a promo code, right? Because anybody can tell you about a product. Let me tell you about this promo code, baby. Use the promo code Moats. Get 20% off of your purchase along with free shipping at manscaped.com. Once again, the promo code is Moats. 20% off plus your free shipping at manscaped.com. Are you ready to get this thing rolling out, baby?
I think so.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty amped up. Yeah.
I am too, man. You know, I always get excited when we get to talk about, just healthy living and good habits.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You just never know. You never know. But something that we might know, well, actually, we will know in a couple of weeks, is this draft and what the Steelers are going to do at pick 24. Now, I'm excited about this because we did a mock draft, about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It was about 2 weeks ago.
2.5, 3.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we were still talking about the running back position at 24. And I think at the time you had said Najee Harris. For me, I went offensive line.
No. Here's what happened, dude. Because of the simulator, they had Harris dropping to the second round.
Yes.
I got him in the second round.
In the second, that's what it was, yeah.
Did you get it? You might have even got him in the second round.
I went Javonte in the second.
Okay.
Instead of Najee. And yeah, but the thing was this, though. We were both under the impression.
I went JOK.
Right.
Number 1.
Yeah, because we were both under the impression that Travis Etienne would be gone by then. And that had been the sentiment up until recently. And
what the hell has happened?
And we even said this with Justin Fields. Justin Fields has went from not in the first round to being a top 2 pick to now might be in a top 10 pick. Like, it's just crazy to see. So recently they've had Travis Etienne mocked at 32 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, why is that significant? Because we pick at pick 24. And this whole time we've been under the impression that he wouldn't be here, which is why we started to create this love for Najee Harris, right? And we started to create the love for Javonte Williams solely because of us not feeling like Travis Etienne would be available for us. So it got me thinking. I'm like, man, these new mock drafts, it's having all 3 backs available to us. We know how much we want to upgrade this running game, especially for your boy 7.
Sure.
So it got me wondering, man. If Travis Etienne is available,
wow.
If Najee Harris is available, if Javonte Williams is available at pick 24, what are you doing?
Okay, so
not just you in the YouTube crowd. Y'all make sure y'all answer that as well. If all 3 of those guys are available, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, and Javonte Williams at pick 24, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, are you drafting them, and which one of those guys would you pick?
Okay. This is interesting.
It is.
Because are we saying it's just Harris and Etienne, or no, I actually said that wrong. It's all Harris, Etienne, and Williams,
all three.
Or is it just Etienne and Williams, or is it just Harris, Williams?
All three, because
Are we saying all three are available at that
all
pick?
three are available, because it's looking like that could realistically happen. And the thing that I was checking out beforehand, I was asking myself, okay, well, what teams that are picking around when we're picking are going to need running backs, right? So I was like, all right, obviously the Jets, you have to be worried about them at 23. They could go running back. I said at 22, the Titans, they're not worried about running
Dolphins.
back. At 20, so the Dolphins, they pick at 18. That's their second pick in the first round, right? So they pick at 6. Everything has them slated to go Javonte Smith, the wide receiver out of Alabama. But their second pick, I've seen them with the edge rusher out of Michigan. Was it Kwity Paye? And I've seen them, it was another person as well, but it hasn't been.
I've seen Harris, though. That's the thing.
I've seen one for him as well, though.
I've seen Harris, so that makes the whole Etienne conversation a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
In my opinion, dude, of those three, I've said this before, I'd go Harris.
Okay.
But if Harris is gone, because it seems like it's flipped. It goes back to what you were saying at the beginning. It seemed like Etienne was going to be going late teens, early 20s, wasn't going to be available to the Steelers. This was about a month ago.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, it seems like Etienne's for sure going to be available. And Harris is the one going a little bit before in those late teens, maybe 20s. Some people just have him, actually neither running back going in the first round too. I've seen that. So it's all going in different directions. But if out of those three running backs, I would go Harris. Now, the other question is probably, would you take running back? Because those are the three top running backs. I'm good with us not taking running back. But if we were to pick one, I would go Harris.
So this is my thing, right? Because I thought similar in terms of, so for me, I said, man, if all three are available, I prefer Etienne over all three of the guys. I just love his top end speed, that home run ability. We really, in Pittsburgh, haven't had a guy that can take it to the house since Willie Parker. Now, when I watch Najee, he reminds me, when I watch L. Bell, just not as elusive in terms of his dead leg, but in terms of finding the hole, great patience, good power, but not that top end speed. How many times do we see Najee get into the open field and it's like, bro, he's going to get caught. You're not even worried about him taking it to the house. Similar things with Javonte to an extent. He isn't a blazer, even though he's a little bit smaller. But when I look at Etienne, I'm just like, dude, some of the things that he's able to do, these two guys can't. And that was the thing that made us just clamor over him, right? These past 2 years. It wasn't like the situation with Najee where you're kind of on the fence about him. And then as the season progresses, we start to love him even more. And then the postseason hit, you're like, okay, this is the guy I want. No, with Travis, we've been seeing this for 2 years now. So I know that it's not a one-off. I know that this isn't a product of the system. This dude can just ball. And it's something about that speed element to just, man, if he hits this hole and you fit this wrong, he can go to the house. It's something about that I just love, man.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Go for it. Yes, indeed.
So what about concerns with pass blocking? And then maybe even the potential of this home run threat that Etienne brings to the table? We might have that maybe with McFarland. So what do you say to those two things?
I say in terms of the pass blocking element of it, he's going to have to get that element of his game better, sure. But he's not the only NFL running back that's been an all-pro that doesn't pass block. Let's be real about it. And when you got a guy like him, similar to L. Bell can pass block at a great level. But do you really want L. Bell pass blocking, or you want L. Bell out there in the route? And with Etienne, I'm saying the same thing. Yes, I can have him in there protecting. Cool. But I would much rather he be out here being an outlet for 7, because we know, hey, man, if 7 can't get it downfield consistently, man, you dropping off to that guy right there anywhere 10 yards and in, he's going to cook. What linebacker do you want him matched up against? Like, that's how I look. I'm like, man, the same way with Elbit, we would motion him all the way out there and be like, I dare you to put that linebacker out there. Double dare you. Because you know he's going to eat him up. That's how I think of Travis. That's how I look at it. Like, so even though the pass blocking element isn't his forte, I don't have an issue with that because of he's so high end in the other elements of his game.
Sure. No, yeah, I would go Harris just because I think if we need that back, that could just be the do-it-all. Bring that pass blocking element, because that was one of the things that people have talked about with him at Alabama, that he was kind of underrated with that. And I think his pass catching, we talk about this with Etienne, is also underrated too. You've seen some of those
Najee, he definitely showed that he could catch, man.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah. So I think we're splitting hairs here. I'm good with any of those three running backs. If I had to pick, like that's what I'm saying. If Harris is gone before we pick and we take Etienne, you know I'm posting some of these highlights. I'm excited about it. So If I just had to pick, though, I go Harris. I just think he could be that Steeler running back, that all-around player. You're right, the top-end speed. I've seen some of these highlights where if he's going to bounce it outside or go inside and just, like, take an extra, like, 4 or 5 yards and get tackled, that seems to be his tendency. I don't know if that's coachable or if that's just based off his play and his ability.
In terms of Najee?
Yeah.
I just feel like certain people have that gear. Like L. Bell, he trains like a crazy man. One of the best athletes I've ever been around. But it didn't matter how hard he worked out. It was like, you're never going to be a 4-4 blazer, so you're never going to take it to the house from 70. You might score from 15, but you're not going to do it from 40. Like, we know this. And with Najee, I just look at him in the similar vein of, I do think he's a great AFC North back, though, in terms of his mold, in terms of his build. But for me, I just think of, like, J.K. Dobbins, for example. That gear. It's different. Think about Mark Ingram, right? Mark Ingram was a really good Pro Bowl back in Baltimore. But did he ever scare you with that gear? Nah. And that's, to me, is the difference. When I think of Najee versus Travis, that gear is the scary part for defenders. You're worried about that guy outrunning you, not that guy running you over. And I just don't think that he is going to get to that level of speed right now, man.
That's still a really good running back, though.
Oh, it is, though, without a doubt.
Ingram,
yeah, absolutely.
This is probably the thing you could say whenever you compare the running backs. This is what I've been hearing and listening to. Najee's floor is better.
Yeah.
But Etienne may have that upside that you're talking about. Comparable to Kamara. Could he be a top 3 or 4 back in the league, like a game changer? Harris may be an awesome career, awesome running back. But is he going to be like Barkley level, Henry level when it's all said and done? Hey, you never know. But
very, very true, yeah.
You never know. But, yeah, I think that's maybe where we're going with these. Like, I think Harris could be maybe a little bit more of an impact coming in right off the bat rookie year. Could be wrong, though.
Now, in the comments, man, we've been getting a lot of these right here, and I actually like this, man. So, getting some people going with, Harris, some people going with Etienne. But I've seen a couple of this right here, and I wanted to call out, was it Javon Roselle? He says, if all 3 are available, he'd rather wait until round 2 to get them. Now, this is something that I have seen come up because I've seen some where they have these guys falling into the second, but early second. Similar to what happened last year with that group of running backs, right? We talked about J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, and we said Clyde Edwards was kind of like the last one of the bunch, but we said, man, what he brings is a little bit different, and we saw the Chiefs take him at the end of the first round, but then we saw as soon as the second round hit, the run on running back. So I do think that that could be a similar scenario here because I've, like I said, done a couple of these things and checked these different mocks here and there, and they do have those guys potentially going early in the second. But if we were going to do that, I look at it like this. You can go O-line, linebacker at 24, but I feel like you got to trade back in, or not trade back in, but move up in the second round. I don't think you can stay at 55 and get any of those 3 guys. I think you're going to have to go into the front end of that second round to do that.
Just because the running back depth for this class, I think you could even get a guy in the 3rd or 4th round if you didn't want to do that. But that could be a perfect draft scenario for us. If we could get maybe Zaven Collins or JOK first pick, maybe you just risk a pick for next year's draft or at some point your 3rd or 4th round pick in this year's draft to get one of these running backs. If you told me we had Zaven Collins or JOK and then Harris or Etienne in our first 2 rounds, that'd be insane.
I would love it. But the reason why I say we're going to probably have to move back up is this. All right, so once we pick at 24, Jacksonville, they're not taking a running back. Cleveland's not taking a running back. Baltimore, not. The Saints aren't going to take a running back, and the Packers aren't taking a running back. None of those teams are. But at 30, the Buffalo Bills, they could definitely take a running back. For a fact, they could do that. At 30,
you're saying trade up in the first round?
No. I'm saying if we didn't trade back into the back of that first round, we're going to have to trade up early into the second because if all 3 of those guys were available at 24, and I said none of those teams
be gone.
Right, because Buffalo and Tampa. Buffalo picks at 30, Tampa picks at 32.
You're buying the Tampa hype.
Why wouldn't you?
They already got Fournette and Jones, though.
Yeah, but what are the deals, though? Are any of those guys the long-term answer down there going forward? Like, I don't.
The real question is, what does Tampa need?
Yeah, well, they brought back all 22 starters, so I mean,
it pisses me off.
Right, I've seen them say they're going to take Kyle Trask at 32. I've seen them say they're going to take Travis Etienne at 32. I've seen them like that. They're in that perfect scenario where they literally have everybody coming back. Literally, it says their first need is quarterback, and then it says D-line, and then safety. Like.
Drafting a quarterback would be dumb.
You see what I mean? Like, they don't need any of that. So I've seen them also go wide receiver as well. And this was more so because of the AB thing. So Chris Godwin's on the franchise tag, and then AB hasn't re-signed because of the money dispute.
Dude, Tyler Johnson is nice though, and Scotty Miller, so like they really don't need a receiver.
It's crazy, but that's their scenario right there. So getting back to what I was saying in terms of why I think we're gonna have to trade back in, Buffalo definitely could go running back, or they could go linebacker, or excuse me, not linebacker, edge rusher. With Tampa, they could go running back. We've seen them mock there. Then, when you start the second round, the Jets go at 34.
If they don't pick in the first round.
Right. The Falcons are at 35. Dolphins at 36.
Yeah.
Eagles at 37. Bengals, I doubt they touch it because they got Nixon. Panthers, similar thing because they have McCaffrey down there. The Broncos.
Melvin Gordon.
But it depends
I don't believe in him. But...
Exactly. Now, we know the Lions a year ago, they took DeAndre Swift. Different organization in terms of management now. Remember, they cleaned the house. So that's another scenario. Giants, I don't think they would touch it. No. Niners, I don't think they need to. Cowboys is another one that you got to watch out for just because of the whole Zeke situation in the contract. I mean, you know how that going right now. And then you still got the Patriots at 46. Hey.
I'm just thinking Zeke's for
crazy,
the Steelers
bro.
In 2021 if they release him.
Dolphins picking again in there. Like, it's a ton of teams that are going to have opportunities that need running backs. They're going to be picking before we get to 55. So we don't get running back in round 1, if we're bent on getting a running back, because the thing is, Mr. Rooney has said this message, right? We want to upgrade the running back. We want to upgrade the running game. Kevin Colbert said it. Mike Tomlin said it. They're not going to continue to push that narrative. And now you finally get to this scenario where you get a chance to get one of these premier backs, or you get a chance to actually upgrade the running game. They're not going to pass on that. You know what I mean? So that's why, to me, I'm just like, if they don't go at 24, they're going to have to move back up. They're going to have to move up in that second round, man.
I think it's going to be Harris, dude.
Yo, I'm not opposed to it.
Just based off everything that's coming out right now, if Harris is meeting with the Steelers, he's like, I had the chillest meeting with the Steelers. It was the best.
Was it the whole staff was there, right? Offense and defense, he said.
I just feel like it's going to be a match made in heaven. I don't know if we're going to have to trade up in the first round to get him. Yeah. I don't know how gung-ho we are in just Harris, because I'm not hearing anything. Well, we did hear some stuff from Etienne, though.
We did,
like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Etienne
man. Said, man, I'd be a good fit with the Steelers. The meeting with us went really well. So, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a cushion there if we don't get Harris. Maybe Etienne could be the pick at 24 if Harris goes at like 18 or something.
No, and I remember when people, when they heard about the Steelers meeting with Etienne, but then they said that they didn't come back down there for Najee's actual like pro day where he worked out. People were like, well, why would you go meet with him when he's not going to be available? But the guy that you know is going to be available to you, you're not there for his. And it's like, well, maybe they know a little more than we do. You know what I mean? Because it's looking
flipped.
like
it's
flipped now. Absolutely.
Because you said Etienne getting mocked to the Bucs. I've seen some mock drafts where he's not even in the first round.
Seriously, I've seen that. Yes, I've definitely seen that, man.
It all depends, dude. It's just all going to depend. And with how the running back class is going, or classes have been going these past few years, they could fall to that early second round.
Absolutely.
Last year's a good example.
Like I said, if they do fall, then you definitely have to move up in the second round to get them. But
because I would say last year's running back class was, I think people are a little bit higher on it.
Yes, yeah.
With Swift, I remember them. I could be wrong. Maybe with Harris and Etienne.
I thought this class was viewed more as higher end.
Yeah, but they had like 5 or 6 guys that could have went end of first round or second round. You're
absolutely.
Right. Like in this one, it just seems 3, and probably only 2 of them are going first round. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me as well, man.
It seems to be pretty deep in terms of the later rounds, though.
Yeah.
I feel like you get some value. We've talked about Trey Sermon, Hubbard. I'm a big fan of Hill, so we'll see.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, though, you got people also saying different position at pick 24. Now, this is my dog, Damo, right here. Shout out to my boy. He says Zaven Collins.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we know he is super legit. We know that we're losing people on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, Bud's gone. Obviously, Devin Bush coming back from the ACL. No Vince Williams. Zaven Collins at 24 is another interesting scenario if we don't go running back at 1, right?
Definitely.
Because he is a beast. We talk about, like, just the size and speed that he plays with. He looks like Urlacher out there. That's why he gets that comparison so much. But he is definitely more of the zone dropping type compared to your Micah Parsons and your J.O.K.'s who are more of the man-to-man, can match and run and cover. But this is my catch-22 with that. In our defense, you're going to have to, you typically want to have a little bit of size on that inside, right? Whereas with Michael Parsons, even though Mike is not going to be there, he shouldn't be there. If he is, you got to move up, right?
Well, I was going to say, I got a hypothetical for you with him, but let's keep going.
But my thing is, with both of those guys, in terms of Micah and JOK, in terms of, we're talking about Jeremiah Owusu Koromora. Yeah, make sure I butcher that.
I'm glad we figured out JOK as a nickname, because every time I try to say that, I'm like, I'm going to botch this up so bad.
I was like, the one from Notre Dame, that guy. But with both of those guys, they're undersized in terms of, one's 6'1", 215. Like they're smaller body guys.
I think Parsons is around 6'3" or so. Yeah, though. I could be wrong on that.
Let me check, because when I looked at him yesterday, I didn't think he was as big as I would have liked. Now he does have a good frame on him, but he's thinner though.
Yeah, he's bigger than JOK.
Right. He looks more like Navarro Bowman to me though. That's what he reminds me of. When I watch him on tape, even I know the Penn State similarities, stuff like that, but that's what he looks like to me. And I love JOK because he plays with just like no regard for his body. He reminds me of Ryan Clark, just at the linebacker position, in terms of he will throw his body in there. He doesn't care. But to me, both of those guys are built more like 4-3 will linebackers. Off ball, keep them free, let them just run sideline to sideline. Whereas in our defense, even though we play a lot of sub-package ball, we are a 3-4 team. And our linebackers, they got to be able to take on these guys. And it's just a different mentality in terms of playing a 3-4 inside off-ball linebacker versus that 4-3 will, which both of these guys are like perfect for. And that's why to me, I'm just like, with Zaven, having a guy that big who can run, agile, drop into coverage, you're pairing him next to Devin Bush. Now it's a different look in there when you're talking about a guy that's 6'4", 260 next to Devin Bush, instead of a guy that's 6'1" or 6'2", probably about 225, 230. Like, that's little right there. You know what I mean? So that's the part that I do like a little bit more about Zaven if we were to go linebacker in the first round.
So you even like him better as a fit then?
I do, yes, I do.
Maybe the other two as players as a whole, but Zaven...
But this is the weird part, right? Zaven fits what we want to do, fits the North, the AFC North as a whole. Micah Parsons and JOK, schematically, some of the coverage, like how we talk about we match up here, right? Even though we're in a zone, only by, definition, it's a zone because this is a 3 deep, this and that, we match up here. So it's more man-to-man. So that's why it's like, part of it's like, well, they fit the man-to-man coverage element great. But am I just drafting them for coverage when I know, what does Cincinnati want to do? Joe Burrow's going to do his thing, but they got Joe Mixon. They try to be physical. We know Baltimore exactly what they're doing, and we definitely know what Cleveland's going to do.
Bengals are probably the only of those three teams that would maybe gear to more Moore's passing.
But if they have a healthy Joe Mixon, and they go ahead and get, which they should do, is draft an offensive lineman from Cincinnati, I'm drafting an offensive lineman in the first round, then I don't want a little guy next to another undersized guy trying to stop the run, because we saw, especially late in the year, what became our Achilles heel on defense. We couldn't stop the run. We were getting out physical. And we saw that too many times late in the year. And when you have undersized guys trying to hold up for 4 quarters, that does eventually happen. So that's the other side where I'm like, I could definitely see Zaven. I could definitely see that if they went that route.
So with Micah Parsons, dude.
Yeah.
I've seen some mocks recently.
Mm-hmm.
They got him going at like 18, 19.
I know. If he's there, you have to move. If he's there, you got to move, bro.
So, yeah, you won't care about any of this schematic stuff. You just take the player then.
We took Ryan Shazier. We know what they said with Ryan. What does he play? Is he an edge? Is he an inside? Is he a safety? He's super fast, but he's very light. We said, well, look, Shay, you're going to learn how to run into people really, really hard, okay? Yeah, you might, deal with some bumps and bruises here and there, but as a whole, we're going to let you just be fast. Be fast. And that's what he did. And eventually guys understood his style of play in terms of some of the backdoor running around blocks, like things that are viewed as a cardinal sin for linebackers. He could do it, and it was viewed as a great play because of how fast he was. So trust me, if Micah Parsons is there, we definitely feel like he is the best of the bunch. Yeah, if he's available, if he's 18, 19, 20, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to figure out how to trade up to go ahead and get him, man.
I think he just ran under a 4.4 too. Yeah. I could be wrong on that, but it was around that range.
No,
it was insane.
It was him in the edge rusher. Was it Jason Owe? I think that's who it is. Yeah, they both ran like 4.3s or whatever. Yeah,
which is insane. But dude, here's the measurables though. Just check too. This might even make you want him even more. Mm-hmm. So it is 6'3". Yeah, 245. I don't know what he. I
don't think he too.
He might have even measured in a little bit. He might have measured in a little bit heavier too.
I gotta see that.
But this is on Google.
245.
Yeah.
You seen what he looks like?
I don't know, dude.
Ah.
I can see it, maybe.
Ah.
All muscle.
All right. 245.
Either way, 6'3", though.
Hey, I like the size. I do like the height.
If he fills out the frame a little bit with that
I do
speed,
like that. If that's the case, I like that.
Which is crazy to me why he's dropping in these mock drafts.
I don't get it either.
Someone's paying him.
But this is the thing, though. It's funny because he's dropping, and he was actually productive. Then you got the edge rusher, Jason Owe, who was nowhere near as productive, but because he ran the 4.3, he's bumping up everybody's job. I'm just like, we've seen this. We've seen these type of guys before, man, where, all right, not really productive, but they're combine freaks. They got one trick in terms of just a speed rush, and when you get to the NFL, it doesn't work because the tackles can move now. It's not like you're going against these big slug mugs anymore. You got to be able to move just like they move, and you got to have counters and a rush plan, and we haven't seen any of that from him. But it's crazy, though. You're right, man. It must be because it's April.
Hold
you
on,
know how April gets,
check.
man.
Hold on, let me check real quick. I'm on NFL.com.
Yeah.
This is, I guess, the profile. Okay, so it says 246.
Okay.
I guess this is officially. This is on NFL.com.
Right. Okay.
Prospect grade 6.89, 6'3".
I hope it's right. All I'll say is this, and we can leave this however we want to leave it. My whole career, from the time I went to the combine, my NFL thing said it was either going to say 6'2", 250 or 6'2", 250. You know how much I weighed and how big I was when I played? 6 foot, 1/4 inch. I played a season at 232 before. I played at 9 years, 7 of those years was at 245, 242. But it stayed 250, 6'2". You opened up the program
250 was your combine measurables?
I didn't even weigh 250 at the combine.
Oh, wow.
I was undersized at the combine. I remember going to weigh in at the combine.
Did you put some rocks in your pocket?
No exaggeration. Funny story, right? Jason Wells. You remember Jason Wells, right?
Yeah.
Coming from Virginia Tech. We're both at the combine together. Now, he had just had off-season surgery, so he's light. And I remember I'm just thinking because the whole JMU Virginia Tech thing is always we're comparing. So I'm like, man, who's this Jason Wells guy? Man, they got him projected to go all this high and stuff. I don't even care about this guy. Why is this Jason Wells guy? And I'm just like, dang, dude, you're kind of little too, man. Like, this is nice. And he's like, yeah, man, what I'm about to do, I'm about to go ahead and drink all this water at this gallon. He's like, I'm about to drink this water. And I'm like, yo, you are right. Because you weigh in and you just lift. You don't have to run that day. So I was like, yo, you smart. So I remember going, just pounding water. I get on this big water belly and everything. I'm just like, yep. And I think it was 246. It might have got up to 246. And it was like, yep, all right, 246. And I walked off. And then from there, when we're filling out the information out there, he was like, what was your weight? What was your height? 6'2". It was 250. Yep. He was like, all right. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yep. And walked off. So I saw, and 4 or 5 people laughing at Jason Wells. I was like, yo, that's a great idea. He's like, yeah, I'm light right now. I was like, dang, dude. But then I saw him when the Steelers actually drafted him. We actually played them in the regular season, our rookie year, and it looked totally different. I'm like, oh, you're like 260, 265. Like, you're a big man. Like, you were probably 240, 238 when I met you. So you could just see the difference. But that's the only when we talk about the measurables. I'm like, I've seen that. That ain't looking like that. I'm just throwing it out there.
We can get Parsons on that program.
Hey, it could work.
I mean, if you said it worked for Worlds, why not? Same program, same
whatever
team, organization.
Whatever Worlds got on, man, listen.
Either way, you agree, though. If he's available, what's the pick then? Does it have to be past 15?
For me, if he's in the 15 and later, actually, no. If we get to 18, he's still there, you got to move up and get him. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
I feel like you move up and get him there, then I'm locked in. I'm committed to either O-line or running back in that second round. Whichever one we feel like is more of a priority, that's what I'm going to have to go with. And I'm going to have to move up. I know I'm probably going to have to move up, but whatever it is.
Oh, wow.
But hold on, I can't move up twice. You're right. We're not moving up twice.
Listen, I don't think it's a bad strategy. This is kind of rogue here, but
it is, man.
We just trade up and off the first 3 rounds, and we get running back, linebacker, and offensive line. Like, those are the 3 biggest needs. Let's just get studs on all those positions, and we don't have to worry about anything. And we get some undrafted guys.
Listen, man. If we can
it might cost us a pick next year, but it might cost us the rest of the draft. I'm good with it, though.
Well, because this is the situation that the Steelers are in right now. They have to hit on these first 3 picks. We have too many holes or too many question marks. They're going to have to come out of this thing with 3 high quality guys in these first couple of rounds. However they come up with it, if it's one in the first, two in the second, if it's one in the first, one in the second, or if it's none in the first, two in the second, because they also could trade out of that first round. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. But whatever it is, they got to hit on 3 of these things, man. And it is what it is because of them not going all the way in through free agency. We talked about how, all right, it looked like they were going to do it. Then it kind of like they were planning for the future. Then it looked like, okay, well, they're going to do this voidable year thing. And that started to become prevalent. But they never really committed either way to one of these things.
There's still a lot of guys available.
Yeah, very true. So to me, I'm just thinking to myself, like, all right, they can't have that half foot in, half foot out approach again and expect to be successful this year. Like, I think they're going to have to pick a side right now. And we're going to find out in this draft. But if Mike is available, you go Mike. But then after that, you got to, like I said, you're going to have to make some moves, man. You got to. And like I said, if you want to trade up twice, I'm with it. But you got to do something if you want this year to look good.
We've been hitting on our draft picks, too. We could afford to do something like this, I think. Because if we do this, our defense is young enough that if we're a little bit lean in next year's draft, it's not going to be the worst thing.
If you're bringing in a Micah Parsons, or if you're bringing in a Zaven Collins, or even a JOK, do you really think the defense looks as lean? It looks lean now because we're talking about the...
No. I'm talking about like our draft picks next year, like our selection, like our round 1, 2. Like we may be missing some of those picks.
Got you.
What I'm saying is yeah, you're right. Like our defense is going to be so stacked, we could afford that next year. Where
Very true.
We're missing a few picks here and there, and then even the offense too, dude. Like we're pretty young on offense in terms of receivers and stuff, skill position, depending on who we pick here.
Yeah.
I mean, just probably have to work on the offensive line a little bit like that.
But there's some depth there. But this is the only issue in terms of, and more so focusing on this year's draft, the only issue is the later you go, the likelihood of you finding guys who are going to be able to come in and be impactful players in year 1, it gets a little different. Even think about how we view Kevin Dotson and Chase Claypool, right? We thought that they had very successful rookie seasons.
Yeah.
Neither one of them were 16-game starters. Neither one of them were, all right, we need you every game for 16 weeks. Or now it's going to be 17 weeks. And essentially, and both of those guys were really good this year. Really good. But we're going to need to do that plus another player and do it for a larger body of work now. That, to me, is the unsettling part. So when we talk about, all right, well, maybe if we don't get it in the third, we'll get it in the fourth. It's kind of deep, right? You might find another guy in the fifth. It's just, I don't think those guys are going to... So you like
my strategy, my road strategy, trade up in all the rounds.
For this year?
Just get those 3 guys.
Yeah, if you're getting those 3...
Just go all in.
If you're getting... But that's the thing. They have to be available to you. If Michael Parsons is available in that 18 range, you have to do that. But then if you have Travis Etienne or Najee Harris, whichever one, or even Javonte Williams, whichever one you fancy, and they're available in those mid-40s, and you're at 55, you got to find a way to get up in there and get that. And then from there, in that third round, fingers crossed.
Or even in the second.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man.
Because the offensive tackle group's deep, too. Like, they have some of those guys between the 6 and 10 range, if you have them ranked that way.
Yep.
Some of them they have going in, like, the late first round, early second round. So it all depends on how you feel about the certain prospect.
Absolutely.
Let's just say this, though. That is probably best-case scenario. Somehow we trade up, we get Micah Parsons. Somehow we get Harris in the second round. And then one of these offensive tackles slip to the end of the second, early third, and we get one of them. Let's just say a normal draft happens. Zaven Collins we get in the first round. Yep. Second round, maybe we do have to trade up. Maybe this is a scenario to get one of the top 3 backs. We get Harris second round. We trade some picks, but then third round, maybe that's the one thing that's bad for us is just our offensive line. Whatever we pick, offensive tackle or center.
So I just did the simulator again while we were over here chatting, right? And we're just going to look at which offensive linemen are available right now. All right. So at pick 87, Kendrick Green, the guard out of Illinois. Really good prospect. They have him rated as this PFF. Now we're using the Pro Football Focus's draft simulator right here. But they have him rated as their 68th best player. Now, like I said, at 87, he's still available. He's a guy that people do like a lot. You got the tackle from BYU, Brady Christensen. Let's see who else. You got a guard out of Alabama, Deontay Brown. Then you also have a tackle out of East Carolina, Deontay Smith. These are all guys who are available in that third round when we pick at pick 87. So
who went early third?
Early third in terms of offensive linemen.
Yeah, any recognizable names?
Let's see. Oh, you talking about Quinn Menares from Wisconsin and Whitewater? No? Oh, all right, just checking. But Let's see. Early third offensive lineman. Trey Smith out of Tennessee, the guard. Let's say Creed Humphrey, the center out of Oklahoma. He went at 71.
Some people have him going in the first round.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was definitely seeing that. Yeah, so he's up there at 71. And then they have James Hudson, the tackle out of Cincinnati. He went at 78. And let's see, what other... Oh, Ben Cleveland. That's the other one that we like. The guard out of Georgia. He went at 83. So he went a couple picks before we picked. So some pieces there.
They don't have the stud offensive tackles, though.
Yeah, all those guys are gone in a second.
Yeah.
And you also have the center available from Penn State, Michael Minette. Or Minette, I think that's how you said it. Yeah. So he's available too. But I'm trying to see in the second round, when did these tackles start to go? Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan, he went at pick 51. Dylan Randuns, that's the tackle out of North Dakota State. He went at 45. Now, I've seen him mocked in the first round as well.
Yeah.
So they have him fall into pick 45 here. The tackle out of Clemson, Jackson Carman, he went at 44 to the Cowboys. You got the tackle out of Stanford, went at 42. That's Walker Little. He went to the Giants in this. And who else? Alex Leatherwood went at 36. Samuel Cosme out of Texas went at 33.
Yeah, that starts to get to the range of, that 6 to 10, late first, early second.
Yeah.
And it's just preference.
And they had Elijah Vera Tucker, the tackle out of USC, going to Tennessee at pick 23 before we went at 24.
What are you thinking then?
Oh, man. Well, which one do we value more right now?
Right.
Are we building offensive line, running back? Or are we going linebacker, running back, or linebacker, O-line? I feel like it has to be one of those three.
I feel like the
linebacker
right? Class isn't as deep as the tackle or the running back.
I do agree.
So it's not a bad idea to go with Zayvon Collins or trade up for Micah Parsons then in round one. That's not the worst idea. And then you just, I really like our strategy, actually.
Yeah.
Just trade up in the second and third rounds and just.
Well, and even if you don't trade up in the third, definitely trade up in the second. Because the pieces that we're seeing that are going to be available at that beginning part of that second round, I just feel like you got to go with them, right? It makes sense. Definitely makes sense. But before we get to that next part, because we're going to start talking a little bit more about these old linemen as well, man, that Tevin Jenkins, Elijah Vera Tucker, just a little bit more in that. Before we get there, though, make sure you're subscribing. That's the thing we always got to remember to do, right? Tell the good folk, y'all enjoying what you're seeing. Y'all like watching. We like talking. Make sure y'all subscribing there. Yes, indeed. So, at 24, said we're not messing with Travis, not messing with Najee, not messing with Javonte. We're going to get them in the second round.
Or maybe they're gone.
Maybe they're gone. All right, in this scenario now, they're gone. Okay, they're gone. They're gone. Wipe them off. They were out of here. All right, YouTube crowd, talk to us again. At 24, would you go O-line? Would you go Tevin Jenkins? Elijah Vera Tucker? You feeling that? Or you not mess with the O-line at all in the first round?
Are the linebackers gone too?
They're not gone. I can't have them gone as well.
Okay.
But would you want to? Because I was wondering.
I'd go linebacker.
Because it's not me. Because I feel like we're gonna do the linebacker conversation again. So late, it's like, yo, if it was just these guys, not these scenarios, because right here we're focusing on these running backs, focusing on these offensive linemen right here.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because obviously we got, well, that guy, I like this guy too. But I was thinking to myself, if we had to go O-line, if we were, we're going offensive lineman here, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's what Cobra's brain is right now. We can't change his mind.
Exactly. So the first scenario was if Cobra's mindset was we're only going running back, all three of these guys are available. Cool. Now Cobra went to the little Men in Black to hit him with the little flashy thing. Actually, no. He ain't hit him with the flashy thing. We hit him with the Manscaped light shaver. And then from there, Lawnmower 3.0. And now he says, okay, cool. We got to go offensive lineman here. So now we're talking offensive line at pick 24. Now,
who's available?
This the thing. Based on the guys that have been available at 24 or around pick 24. Obviously, I told you we had Elijah Vera Tucker. He went at pick 22 to the Titans up here. Tevin Jenkins is available around that same range. Mm-hmm. Christian Darrison out of Virginia Tech. He went at 17 in his mock, so still in the vicinity. All right, let's see what other tackles.
Jackson Carman, Jalen Mayfield.
Yeah.
Sam Cosme.
Those guys, they were all available. The main guys who were, the big guys who are gone. In terms of Rashawn Slater, he's out of there. He's gone at 13. Who else do you have that's gone? Penei, is it Sewell?
I'm not sure.
I want to say Penei. Penei from Oregon. That guy. Yeah, he's going at 5, obviously, to the Bengals. Let's see, what other offensive linemen? Yeah, so outside of Christian Darrison, because he's at that 17, so you could say that's the cutoff of if he's technically in our range or not. But yeah, Christian Darrison, Rashawn Slater, and Panay. Those are the big 3 that were gone.
Yeah.
So in our range, and guys that we would potentially take at 24, Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC, Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. And from there, you got Samuel Cosme out of Texas, Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama, and then Walker Little as well. Man, you got a lot of these linemen, man. Jeez. Yeah. Jackson Carman and Dylan Randall.
Mayfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wyatt Davis, the guard out of Ohio State. Now, I don't think we're touching him at pick 24, but these are still guys that are going either late first round or early second round. So we talked about if you didn't pick at 24 and you decided to trade back, these guys still could be in the vicinity. So once again, if Kevin Colbert, he's mine. Hey, I'm totally into this thing. I gotta go O-line. What we looking like, baby? What we thinking?
Who am I picking out of these guys? I don't know, dude. I told you I'd rather go running back, linebacker, but it's tough because I just have some things written about some of these linemen, and it seems like there's pluses and minuses for each of them.
There are.
You texted me this. I don't know if you're thinking this guy. Maybe you really like him. Tevin Jenkins, though.
I like him in the sense, watching him on tape reminds me of Pouncey in terms of the nastiness that he plays with. He finishes guys. Like, you watch him, man, it's like it's not enough that he's just blocking you. It's not enough that he's blocking you 5 yards.
People to the sideline.
Like, I like that energy. For my offensive lineman, I don't want good offensive linemen. I want my old lineman like Pouncey. I want my old lineman like what's the boy Taylor Lewan. I want my offensive linemen. They gonna talk to you. They not afraid to punch you. They not afraid to get punched. They would whatever, because you know that's the guy that's gonna go to war and will die for that quarterback. He's going to do whatever it takes to keep him safe, but more so when this guy's running the ball, he's going to do whatever it takes to keep those guys clean. Trent Williams is another guy. We love Trent Williams' game because he's nasty when he plays out there. He tries to destroy you, and that's what I see when I see Tevin.
What's the downside? Because everything I'm reading on him is that everyone loves him for that
reason. Versatile as well, man.
Athletic. So why is he getting mocked to like late first round, maybe even second round?
I think to me more so because he isn't the quote-unquote like premier left tackle right now. He played a lot more right tackle, and I think he played some inside as well, some left guard, I want to say, for them. So I think that's a little bit different, where you think about the tackle from Oregon. Like, he was there the whole time, and it was no moving around like, dude, that's who he is. He's a monster, you know? So even with Elijah Vera Tucker, similar thing, right? They're slating him to bump out the tackle, but he played guard. You know, and some people think that he can be more Quentin Nelson type at guard than they think he could be a high-level Pro Bowl, all-pro guy at tackle. So I think it's just the difference of opinions of where they think these guys can project to and stuff like that.
I get what you're saying. And they were saying the same thing about Slater.
I done seen Slater, man, early, and I done seen him falling as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, because some people are concerned about his arm size now. But it's funny. Two of these guys in this top 10, all of a sudden, they're like the...
It's crazy.
The Chase Young kryptonite, Jalen Mayfield and Slater. Apparently they kept him in check in college, but with Slater, yeah, they say he's like really athletic and stuff, or he's really fundamentally sound. And if he goes to the guard or center spot, some people project him as Pouncey. But then people are concerned about the tackle thing if he wants to play those positions because of the arm length.
Well, and we've also seen...
So it's weird. It's like, where do you have him? That's probably going to depend on where he gets drafted.
And it's funny you say that in terms of the arm length and stuff like that, but also personal preference. We saw in Baltimore, right? Where, the franchise tackle got hurt. Obviously got hurt in the game versus us. Right tackle has to go over and play left tackle for them. He balls out, and he's like, I don't want to go back to right tackle. I want to play left because we know left tackle gets the money. That's the blind side, right? And for him, he's like, I don't want to leave there. I want to stay on the left. So now they have a situation where they got to figure out what to do with that, right? With Rashawn, you have to ask him, like, yo, are you open to playing a different position? Or are you, hey, I want to play this. Is the only position I want to play. If that's the case, then that could also be a reason why you could see him fluctuating in the draft.
Yeah, definitely. So you like Tevin Jenkins?
I do.
Out of those bottom like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I do. I just like that. I like the nastiness, man. It's something about when you see him finishing guys play after play after play. to me, I'm just like, that's what I want my offensive lineman to look like.
So, yeah, since you texted me, he was one of the guys I kind of focused on more. Like, I was watching highlights and actually some people break down film and stuff, and it was pretty impressive. One of the other things was his quick first step right off the line.
Yeah.
I don't know if that could be a red flag where he's jumping off sides or doing
No. So,
false starts all the time, but
no. So let me get you right, man, on the quick first step.
And it was very powerful what they were saying too.
You love it. So you heard of oh my goodness, now I'm drawing a blank on his name. Jeez, the tackle that was over in Cleveland for all the years, Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
People love Joe Thomas, right? We view Joe Thomas as probably the best offensive line we've seen in this generation. Like that, legit dude. Played against him multiple times. He is for real, for real. The one thing that makes him so special, though, was that right there, his get off. He's lined up barely on that line of scrimmage. And his first step, we would pause the tape, and sometimes he's gone before the ball even snapped.
They ain't catching it.
And they're not catching it. But the reason you love it for offensive line, because it creates that space. You think about this, right? When and this is the duality of that offensive lineman position. On a run play, they're trying to eat the space up. They want to get you in tight. They don't want any type of separation. On pass rush, I don't know. Let me get my space. They kick. Hey, you stay away. Give me some distance. With that kick like that great first kick, you create so much separation between that edge guy that now he gets limited in terms of what he can and can't do. That inside rush, that speed, actually the speed rush goes away. The reason why you want that first step as a tackle to be fast, to prevent that speed rush, because you don't want to get beat around the edge. That's the fear, right? Beat around the edge. I know I got a guard right here to protect me inside, but I need somebody on this edge. If I'm kicking out like that fast, now that's gone. Now what I have to worry about, and this is what Joe Thomas got great at, that inside hand for the bull, or the inside hand to make sure if he's going on the inside rush, he can power that thing down. If he can do that, man, that first step is great. You want to be fast. You don't want to be slow off that ball. If you're a tackle and you're going after the ball snap, it's too late. You're done. You're toast.
That's what I'm telling you. From everything I was doing this research on, I don't know why this dude's not going in the top 10 though. It seems like he's got everything right.
I'm with you. I'm like, is it because you played at Oklahoma State? Like, I don't get it, man.
Was it because he was right tackle exclusively? Did he
do left tackle?
He
played some left. He played some guard and he played right tackle. And then the same with Vera Tucker. He played guard and he was a tackle as well. So maybe that's it. But I'm trying to figure out. But this is the thing. I feel like we do this every year. Not us, but just like the draft gurus. Every year during this time, they start to, all right, well, we hyped this guy up. We praised him. Now we're going to keep watching the tape. Now we're going to outsmart ourselves here. Now, you know what? Maybe he's not that. Maybe he's not,
Yeah, why weren't people on him in the fall?
Right. So that's the thing. I'm just like, do they just, because they're just constantly doing this time of year, this is all they do, draft. They just, all right, I've seen this guy so much that now you start to just nitpick what you already said this was great about him, but now you want to critique what you called him great on. Like, I just feel like you're overdoing it sometimes, man.
Now, do you like him at 24 though?
I do, because I don't think he'll be available after that.
Whoa, you think people are gonna be picking up on him?
I do, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, man, just based on right here, right, in terms of Elijah Vera Tucker and Tevin Jenkins, they are both slated to go like right in the same area. Elijah went at 22 right here. Now, even if he didn't go to the Titans, the Jets picking at 23, they might want to do that, especially knowing that they're going to probably have to take a quarterback. Well, not probably have to. They are going to take a quarterback. You're going to want to protect them. So that to me, I'm like, all right, Jacksonville's another one. I can see them potentially mess with it. Cleveland picks after us. Baltimore picks after us. You know what I mean? Like, it's plenty of teams that are picking after us. They're gonna need offensive lineman help. We even don't forget Tampa. You never know with Tampa. They got just an embarrassment of riches right now. They could even say, you know what? We'll take him and make him our swing tackle. He'll be our extra old lineman. He'll be the eligible. Yeah.
How do you feel about him versus like the top 3 or 4? You think we'd be getting a steal then?
No. I put it like this. I think he, in terms of Tevin.
Yeah, versus like Penny, Slater, Darisaw.
Penny's he's in the class by himself. That's how I look at him. But Slater, that's the one though. I think he's closer to Slater than what the mocks have it. But then I also wonder, is it just because of what teams need, right? Because no, that doesn't make sense, because I'm looking at right here, they have the Chargers at 13 going Rashawn Slater, and then at 17 they're going with Christian Darisaw from Virginia Tech. So I don't know, man.
It's just all gonna depend. Yeah. I mean, that's how it goes with every draft.
Yeah.
Just depend on what the teams want or need, and there's always going to be surprises. There's probably going to be 3 or 4 surprises that just throw some of these mock drafts off.
Absolutely.
And some guys are going to fall.
Right, wrong, or indifferent.
All right, if you had between offensive tackle, as of right now, this could change. This is not finalized.
Right.
Offensive tackle, linebacker, running back.
Okay.
What are you going with?
At 24, I got offensive lineman, I got my running backs, and I got my linebackers.
If it was a perfect world, everyone's available for you.
Well, you know how I feel. I'm going Zaven at 24.
Okay.
I'm going to find a way to either, if I don't know which Cobra we're talking to, if I want running back Cobra, if I want O-line Cobra, but either way, somehow, some way, I'm not picking at 55. I'm picking in those 40s.
Okay.
And I'm walking away with either Etienne or Harris, whichever one I'm fancying at the time, whichever one is on the board at the time, because you know how we do it. We're going to flip-flop. When we talk about it today, we'll talk about it next week. I might be over here. That Najee guy, like, let me just tell you about this guy. I really like him a lot, you know? So
you on board?
It just depends on what we're feeling at the moment, all right? But either way, I'm trading back. I'm moving up in that second round.
Jersey swaps
yes.
all of a sudden?
I'm moving up into those 40s in that second round to either get one of those 2 running backs. And then from there, I'm going to let the chips fall where they may in that third round with offensive line. Now, hopefully the football guys make it easy on me. And if they have none of those 3 running backs available, then I'll just draft one of these offensive linemen. I'm going to move up and get an O-lineman early in that second round. And now I feel even confident because the thing is, with our team, I feel like we can upgrade O-line and draft a guy in that mid-tier round, right, in terms of running backs. And I actually saw his name mentioned in here a little bit, too. It was Chuba Hubbard. So I've seen his name coming up in here. Now, some people are on the fence because a year ago, he was viewed as a top prospect. People were looking at him like, you're crazy for coming back. He comes back and plays this year. Obviously, he starts to fumble a lot more. Draft stock drops. Then he ends up opting out towards the end of the season. He's a guy that, you know, could be interested in that 4th, 5th round range. Or, excuse me, not 4th, 5th round, but that 4th round range. Trey Sermon's another guy that I've seen come up in the chat. And obviously, Coach Tomlin and then we're out there at Ohio State's Pro Day. He's another interesting guy. We talked about him a little bit. Was that, I guess, like 2 podcasts ago or whatever. In terms of just, he came on later in the year, got hot, but then he got hurt in the biggest game in terms of national championship. Played 1 snap, and that was it. So we never got a chance to see him against Bama. But he's another interesting guy. So to me, I could definitely see myself going Zaven, getting one of these O-linemen, and then the alternative is, all right, find one of these guys in the mid-round to get that running game situated. And then I'm going to figure that this, me upgrading the offensive line, and then we putting this mid-round back with Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland and Kalen Ballage and having these dudes just go to war for it and almost treat it like a performance. Whoever performs well this week, you're the hot hand.
Preseason will be interesting as hell.
And I've seen Coach Tomlin, not necessarily at the running back position, but he's done this at other positions where he's like, literally, the hot hand is going to get the guy. The hot hand gets the opportunity. We had this when this was probably my second year here. Me, Debo, Bud, and Jarvis. And he would be going back and forth. All right, I want Debo and Moats starting this week. All right, no, I want Moats and Debo. All right, excuse me, I want Jarvis and Moats. All right, I want Bud and Debo. And it got to the point where he was like, you know what? I'm going hot hand. So you might start this game. But if you're not hot and this guy comes in here, he puts something hot out there, he gonna play the rest of this game. And from there, we had to compete against each other to get out there. So if you want to get more snaps, you better put hot tape out there. I could easily see him come in there with those 4 running backs and tell him right here, look, man, usually he says 2 dogs, 1 bone. A lot of people have heard that from Coach Tomlin. He gonna hit him with the look, man. We'll dress 3 running backs. So 4 dogs, 3 bones, all right? Or he make it a little spicy, say 4 dogs, 2 bones. I only want to take 2 backs into this game. The third guy's special teams only. We're not worried about it. He could go that route. And then just each week have them competing to figure out who's going to be the guy until someone emerges. Now, if Benny Snell or Anthony McFarland this offseason comes back and they, hit that L Bell year 2 or for Benny Snell year 3, body transformation, they come back like some freaks, well, now it answers itself. But if that's not the case, you still have that luxury, that assurance of, all right, I got a committee. This guy can run well. This guy's a power back. This guy's my receiver. This guy's my blocking back. And you just kind of get creative and hope Matt Canada can, hide it as best as possible because every team has flaws. It's not like it's just Pittsburgh. Every team has flaws. But the good ones or the great ones, they have the smallest amount of flaws or they're able to hide them the best. And that's the thing that Canada could potentially be looking at if you go offensive lineman and say we're going to do more of the bargain shopping route for a running back.
I think that's the smartest way to go. Like if I'm,
it is. I feel like
if I'm going just for the excitement and me getting amped up, it's Harris. It's Harris. But I think that's the smartest route. Linebacker, you get a stud linebacker, pair him with Devin Bush.
Because you want to have that defense
Try to take the lineman in the second round, and then you just wait on running back. And any of those running backs, dude, I really do think one of them could be a stud. They could be. I mean, Hubbard's a perfect example.
Yeah, man.
If he would have came out last year, he would have been right in the mix with those other guys for first round.
Now, I have to tell you, you might have converted me too on a player, Kalen Ballage. I remember you were telling me, oh man, well, sometimes it looks like you could do this and that. And I had watched him, but I hadn't studied, like got on him. I did that breakdown.
I wasn't too high on him, but okay.
but you were high enough. You were like, yo, he could, and because for me, I when I first saw
him, I'm always gonna take the positives, or at least gonna try.
So when I saw him, my initial mindset was, all right, this is a short yardage back at best, multiple teams, and not a lot of time. I don't want to touch it. Like why are we even talking about this? And then obviously we did the film session, right? And if you haven't checked out the film session, definitely check that out on Kalen Ballage. I'm like having to watch all these different games. I'm like, man, he has all these little things that he does. And it's like,
yo, did you like my analysis?
I did. I'm like, yo, shout out to Deke. Deke called it. I'm like, I can see it, but it's the consistency. That's the thing. Now, that Chargers offensive lineman. That Chargers offensive lineman.
He had the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Chargers.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things. Maybe the Steelers are seeing something here.
But I'm asking myself on the flip side, is our offensive line right now better than any of those situations?
But that goes to the draft, though.
True, and that's the thing, yes.
Which makes it the smart decision.
That makes it intriguing to
potentially pass on a running back then in those first couple rounds.
That definitely makes it intriguing. If we go Tevin Jenkins or you find a stud offensive lineman, I feel a lot better. Because the framework. Listen. The framework. As I watch them, it's like I'm telling myself, I'm like, yo, am I really doing this? Like, don't do it. I'm like,
I think you're getting more and more removed from the game, and you're starting to believe in some of this stuff now.
And this is the problem too, man. I'm from the era where when we were growing up, we wanted to either be quarterback or running back. It wasn't an offensive lineman. It was never a wide receiver. We never wanted to rush the pass. We wanted to be a running back. So I love running backs. And when I watch him, he does little things. It just makes me like, oh, look at the footwork. Oh, he finishes falling forward.
Dude, I love cornerback.
Dude, what? He caught this one pass, man. He dead legs the guy, burst, then runs. I'm like, oh, I got crazy hype because I love that. I love like big, physical backs with sweet feet. Oh, baby. But I don't want to get too high just yet. I don't want to get too high on him just yet. But man,
we'll see. If we don't draft a running back high, then you could be the guy that's pulling for him. Then, I think everyone this offseason they're gonna have a guy in the running back room.
Because for me,
are you a Snell guy? Are you a McFarland guy? Ballage? If we draft like Sermon, are you
a Sermon guy? It could be. And I even went back and looked at the guy from Buffalo. Remember we talked about him? Was it Jared? Was it Jared Peterson? I think it's Patterson. Yeah. I cooled off a little bit though.
Oh, whoa.
The more I look at him, he is very tiny.
Jones Drew though.
But I don't think he's a stick.
Okay.
He's tiny.
Yeah.
He looked like a little kid. Like it was funny. I was watching the game where he had the 8 touchdowns, and I have my oldest daughter with me, KK, and she's like, Dad, who are you watching? I'm like, you see this little guy? She's like, he's like little Mighty Mouse out here. Just like little guy just running off. I was like, yeah, he's tiny, but looks good. I'm like, I like his game, but he is like.
Is it just the tininess? Is that it?
Yeah, it makes me nervous. Because this is my thought process. All right, small backs, how are they going to hold up? 17 games, how are they holding up? Versus not even MAC competition. Because remember, he's playing in the MAC. So you're going against bigger, stronger, faster guys. How does that translate at this level? You know what I mean? Some of the things that he was able to do versus some of the teams he was playing against, you're just like, you're not going to see a defender out there that looks like that. You know what I mean? Like, even the worst defender is going to be faster and bigger than that. So that's my only concern. But he reminds me of Darren Sproles more than Jones Drew. Okay. I don't think Jones Drew, when I say him, because he's not as big as Jones Drew. And Jones Drew, man, they call him a little bully ball because he wasn't little. He was just short. He was very compact though. Yeah. Whereas with the kid from Buffalo, he just seems a little more of the petiter side. Not like tiny, but little more bite size. Darren Sproles, like I think is the perfect person for like. I could see him in a Darren Sproles role in terms of returning kicks, in terms of you utilize him in some of these running games and some of these gadget stuff. But Darren Sproles was never a 3-down thumper, 3-down running back. Like
we were hoping Dre Arch would be for us.
Yeah, but now he's bigger than Dre. Now, and not in terms of height, but size.
Oh
like,
yeah, definitely.
Dre was built like a track runner, like in terms of super lean, super thin. But it's different. You gotta, you can run 4.3 and 4.2, but you gotta want to do that when there's people out here that's willing to hit you. And that was a little bit of the disconnect right there. But with Patterson, I want to call him Peterson.
You've cooled off so much on him.
No, it's because I keep thinking about the hockey with Patterson.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, I don't want to mix them up, and I'm like, oh yeah, it is okay. But that's my only thing. I'm just like, it makes me low. It's tiny.
Okay.
Really tiny.
Gotcha.
Really tiny. But worth the flyer though. Late round worth the flyer.
Because he's not the RB1 I was talking about, at least for this year.
Not RB1 yet. Darren Sproles, though. But this is my other thing. Do we draft him knowing that you have Ray McLeod? Because to me, Ray is our return man. Ray, I mean, you saw what he looked like out there. Even though Deontay was all pro as a rookie, it still looked a little different in terms of that gear that Ray played. Like, Ray is 0 to 60. The acceleration part is just crazy. Like, Deontay, he gonna make you miss. He gonna side, we'll give you that. But he's more of like that strider when he's running. Whereas like with Ray, I feel like I'm watching the finals of the 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
He coming off the blocks just like he's going. I'm just like, yo, if I got that, do I need another? You know what I mean?
I don't feel like I need that. In that Sproles role, maybe.
I would hope so. Matt Canada, what's up,
somehow,
baby?
some way.
Because you see what it looked like. He got a gear. He definitely has a gear, man.
Yeah, he had some really nice plays, not even in the return game, but just on offense.
No, absolutely. Was it the Eagles game where he had like the long? Yeah. So I could definitely, that's my thing. I'm just like, knowing that we already have that, we don't need to touch that. All right. So are you ready for this last Kevin Colbert scenario? Okay. So hold on. Let me flashy ding you. All right. Flashy dinged you. Shout out to the Lawnmower 3.0 here. All right. So now Kevin Colbert has changed his mind. He doesn't care about running backs. He doesn't care about offensive line either. He said, look, we're worried about the future. I need to find the heir apparent to the franchise guy, to the GOAT. No, not in this year, but not in terms of coming into this season.
I forgot this. Yes. I didn't even do any research on this topic. I didn't even think you were bringing this up.
So, we've also seen scenarios where now people are very high on Kyle Trask. Talking about potentially the Steelers. Would they take him at 24 or potentially trade back to later in that first round to take a guy like Kyle Trask? Obviously, we know Ben is coming back on a 1-year voidable years after that. Now, there's still rumblings that it could end up having to be 2 years just because of the cap standpoint, right? But my thing is this. People have been talking about Kyle Trask, and would we like him here in terms of when you watch him, he looks very similar to Big Ben when he was at Miami of Ohio. Big guy, statue, can run. This is the thing, though. People call him a statue. He runs well enough. For the quarterback position, he can move just enough.
Ben could move his rookie year.
Absolutely, but it's like, because everybody assumes like you got to run like Trey Lance, Cam Newton, Josh Allen. It's like, no, you don't have to do that to be a good running at quarterback. And he can run good enough. But his deep ball, beautiful deep ball. And obviously we know who he lit it up with down there in terms of Kyle Pitt. I mean, in terms of, I said that right. In terms of.
Too many names, huh?
It's way too many names, right? In terms of Pitts and Kadarius Toney. So when I see him, I'm like, what's a Heisman finalist? Looks good on tape. I like him. But am I planning for the future this year? Like, do I want to have that in spot? And then the other thing was they said, do you already have him on the roster in terms of Mason Rudolph?
You know my answer, dude. We can't be doing this. My heart says no. Mm-hmm. My mind says no too. My heart, obviously, I want Big Ben to keep playing for the Steelers. Mm-hmm. But mine, you're right, dude. Let's draft a linebacker. Let's draft an offensive lineman. Let's draft a running back. Yeah. Someone that can help us for this year because I think we're going to be in the mix for the playoffs. No. I think a quarterback would be a waste of a pick.
You're not the only one that's looking like Shoot the Rock. I love your name, by the way. Shoot the Rock. Shoot it. He says taking a QB first round would be stupid.
Yep.
I'm with you. Let's see.
They know what's up.
Let's see. Here we go. Cole Fitzsimmons taking any QB that's not a top 4 guy would be stupid. I agree with that. We don't think Kyle Trask is a top 4. Even though, wait a minute now.
Well, since you watched tape, what's your analysis?
Because this is my thing. I like Kyle Trask a lot. In fact, this is the thing that I'm torn with. If I'm in, if I'm drafting a quarterback in the first round right now, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, I think they're separate, right? They're in the class by themselves because they have body of work, they have competition that like the competition they win against, all of those things they check the box on. Trey Lance and Zach Wilson. I know people love them.
Whoa, is this a hot take?
I don't want to touch either one of them. I personally don't. For me,
you like Mac too.
Yeah, and so Mac and Kyle Trask I view the same. But now all these mocks, it used to be Mac Jones that was going to be available. Now they have Mac going early.
They had him at 3.
They had him, you know what I mean? So it's like now they have him going where at first they were like, oh, he might not even be in the first round. Remember they were saying, oh, at 24, Mac Jones to the Steelers. So now they have him going early. So now I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm not even going to consider Mac Jones because, yeah, to me, I look at Mac and Kyle Trask very similar, but they're saying that he wouldn't be there. But the reason why I still would take Mac Jones or Kyle Trask over Trey Lance and Zach Wilson, number one with Trey Lance, 1 full season as a redshirt freshman. 1 season. And it was at the 1AA level. That's not a lot of work. That's not a lot of body of work for him. And you were playing at North Dakota State. It's a power. It's just like JMU. It's exactly. You go out here, you're supposed to dominate everybody because we got the best guys out here. That's what it's supposed to look like. Then you have the one game this year against just a mediocre 1A team, and it looked different. That makes me nervous. Zach Wilson, you saw the teams he played against out there. Ah! If you're not beating that, you think? So you was worried about Holy Cross? What do you think the Baltimore Ravens gonna look like? What do you think? You know what I'm saying? The Buffalo Bills gonna look like? What do you think Tampa Bay gonna look like?
People like that pro day throw.
Yes, and think about this, right? People went crazy with a pro day throw, and we're just like, why would you throw that anyways, right? If this isn't a game, you would never throw that. But I understand the arm strength, I understand the mechanics and all that good stuff. I got you. But we do this every single year. Every single year, we come in here and we crown the next 2 to 3 guys and say, oh, these are franchise quarterbacks. That's going to be the next great one. And think about just throughout the history of the first round draft, right? And all these different quarterbacks that have been taken, how many of them actually become franchise quarterbacks? How many of them actually live up to that moniker?
I'm thinking of the Marino draft. That's the one that comes to mind.
Like, so to me, I'm just like...
You had Elway, and then you had like 4 or 5 guys. Yeah. I think everyone was trying to outthink themselves. They took over Marino.
But the majority of the time, it's the opposite of that. The majority of the time is, that guy's a bust. That guy, he's kind of good, but he's never grew up. He never was great. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't like trying to put those type of expectations on those 2 guys with their body of work. It's not a lot of body of work. So to bring it full circle, the reason why I said if it's not one of the top 4 guys, the reason why I was like, I don't really agree with the top 4 guys because they have those guys in there as the top 4 guys. I've seen somewhere they got Justin Fields behind Trey Lance and Zach Wilson. To
like
me,
around
that's
9 or
crazy.
10 now.
Right. So to me, that's crazy. I wouldn't do that. I'm going with the guy that I know. I've seen this. I've seen the competition. That competition is going to be great comparison to what he's going to be facing in the NFL. Not you're going against Colorado Community College State University and y'all barely won or y'all lost. I'm just like, oh, I'm good on that. I don't want that. It's just me. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just me.
So you like Mac Jones and Trask?
I do over those 2. I do personally, yes. I just think it's a lot. Now, obviously, those 2 guys have the higher ceiling though, in terms of Trey Lance and Zach Wilson. They have their ceiling is way higher. But I've just never been I'm gonna only get this guy because Jake potential guy. Because we hear potential like all the time.
Jay Cutler.
Sam Darnold. We heard it all. You're still here. We hear it a lot. And how many times do we play this game of potential upside, but it never materializes. It never comes to that. And then the guy who we're like, well, he has a high floor, but his ceiling's a little low. He comes in, he's like, well, man, this dude actually has a great career right here. He's right on par the whole time. You know exactly what you're getting with this guy. To me, like, even Andy Dalton is a prime example, right? Andy Dalton, never viewed as a great guy, but he's a good NFL quarterback, a guy that's been a Pro Bowl, a guy that you can win with, a guy that's consistent. You know who he is. You didn't have he got all this potential, Sam. Oh, he got all this potential, this guy over here. He got all this potential, that guy over there. And then you're like, oh, he kind of turned out to be Josh Rosen. And not saying that Josh Rosen was a bad quarterback. Now, we know his deal is kind of crazy, but just you get what I'm saying of potential. But we forget where their floor is right now because that more than likely is going to be what we're looking at year 1, year 2 before they can make that leap. So that's why for me, man, if I'm picking, I'm going with the guys that are more proven, more pro ready right now versus the great upside, but the serious unknowns around him, man.
I got you.
Yeah, man.
But either way, I know you like to troll me about Ben a little bit. With that first round pick, are you with me and some of the people in the comments?
Oh, yeah, I don't want to take a quarterback.
Let's not take a quarterback.
Yeah, we don't need a quarterback. Not at all. I mean, worst case, you want to take a quarterback, we'll get Ian Book in round 6 or 7, right? Out of Notre Dame. He's always available. Anytime I do these little drafts, he's always available. So we'll just take him, and then from there we're good. Even though I don't think you need a quarterback. I'm not touching a quarterback.
We don't need to.
Yeah, if you're not picking in, like, unless you say, hey, man, I love this guy, and I'm willing to trade up into the top 15, top 10 for a quarterback that might have slipped, I'm not thinking about quarterback right now. The chips are what they are right now, and for this season to matter, for this season to be successful, wasting a pick on a quarterback, I just don't think that helps him right now.
Did I hear you say 2 years, baby?
No. Well, the reason I said is depending on how you feel about this guy now. All right? Depending on how you feel about him.
Wait, no. What do you mean? Talking about the Ben contract? That's what I'm talking about? Yeah.
So
it's
depending
two more Ben. Two more years for Ben.
John Clayton, he's John Clayton, the NFL.
People are ripping on him now.
Well, because this thing. So you remember first he said the 1 year $6 million deal for Ben. I mean for Bud. It was like, yeah, he probably come back for 1 year $6 million, at best $8 million coming off the ACL. We saw how wrong he was there. I think this might have been yesterday. He says, well, yeah, I realistically think that Ben's going to be back for not just this year, but the following year. And when you look at some of the salary cap, and I'm like, well, I could definitely see the salary cap is increasing, but at the same time, like, with certain things, you can maneuver it to make it work for him. So, yeah, I could definitely see them going that route, but just because next year there isn't a great free agency class in terms of quarterbacks. And he was like, right now, in terms of the draft, are the Steelers anticipating picking in the top 5? If you're not picking there, like, the chance of you really finding that guy, obviously they go down a little bit. You know what I mean? So that was his whole premise of this thing. He's like, well, that's why I think. Now, that's why I said it depends.
I like what he's saying.
Now, you just said they was ripping on him. Now you calling him smart.
Here's the thing, though. No, they were ripping on him. I don't think they should have been ripping on him. Like, he could get anything he wants wrong, from my standpoint, just because he made that Slayer commercial for ESPN, which is incredible. But, yeah, I like what he's saying there. And I agree with it, too. I've been talking about this how many times? Like, I don't think it's a done deal that this is Ben's last year, because next year, all of a sudden, we have a ton of cap space. If Ben wants to keep playing and he balled out, the Steelers want him back. Why wouldn't he take a $20 million deal like what Brady and Breeze have been doing?
That's the big
thing. I don't see why not.
The big premise is as long as he balls out. If he balls out, it solves itself. We didn't want to talk quarterback a year ago until we saw that, man, all right, it wasn't looking like what we thought it would look like. And it's not even to say that Ben isn't good. It's just the expectation for Ben is greatness. That's what we've become accustomed to with him. So when you fall from greatness and now you're just really good, yeah, people going to look at you and question that. People going to look at you and say, well, is it like that anymore? Should we move on? Not realizing that really good is still better than half this other NFL out here. Like, that's the part that here in Pittsburgh we've been spoiled with. And we're not the only team that's going with it. The Falcons, they're in a similar situation. They're looking at, oh, well, should we move on from Matty Ice, Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan's a little bit younger than Ben, right? But at the same time, because Matt Ryan is 30.
I don't think by too much.
Yeah, he's like 35. He's 35 or 36. He's in that range.
Yeah, what's Ben? He just turned 39.
Yeah, Ben just turned 39. Yeah.
Ryan's so it's like 36 or so.
So it's not too far off. But he's another one where it's like you look at what Matt Ryan has done, right? He's taken that team to a Super Bowl. He has a league MVP. He's lit it up down there, right? But even them, they're kind of like, all right, well, do you want to move on from him now? Do you draft this quarterback potentially? Where they're picking at in that top 5, top 6 area? Like, do you draft a guy there, or do you ride with Matt Ryan a little bit longer? I personally, I'm like, man, Matt Ryan, even on his bad day, still gonna be better than half these other cats out here. I'm rolling with that for at least another year or two. That's just me.
Yeah, some people have them taking a quarterback, maybe one of these high upside guys, Wilson, Lance.
Right.
That's
crazy.
I don't think anyone. I think you're the first guy to say this.
Now we'll say this.
I like this.
If they did take one of those guys, and it's the Falcons we're talking about, I like it if it's like Green Bay. Think about Jordan.
I hated that move last year.
What?
I did.
Why?
I wanted them to take for their case with Rodgers. They should have taken a receiver in my opinion.
This is my thing. I don't care in terms of if you throw a running back, receiver, O-line. I'm just simply saying if you're gonna draft I like the fact that he was able to sit behind him for a year. Understand the preparation. Understand how to be a professional. Understand the difference because it's night and day from college when you have to be the face of a franchise and lead grown men. It's different. That 18, 19-year-old that you might be talking to, he ain't got no wife and kids. He ain't no grown man making multi-millions looking at you like, man, get out my face. It's different. And for these younger guys, sometimes that's the part that takes a little bit longer for them to adjust to. And just throwing them out there sometimes can be more damning than good for them. So that's why for me, it's like if you are able to have a franchise guy, which is why I even thought to myself, like, okay, if they would take a quarterback, the Steelers this year, I was like, I wouldn't be opposed to it because at least he's going to be sitting behind 7. You know what I mean? He's not coming in here to take 7 spot, right? He's coming to sit behind him and learn. But it still seems just redundant because you got Mason and you have Dwayne Haskins, who's our high-end flyer guy this offseason, you know? So that's the whole thing with it. But if you're the Falcons and you did take quarterback, just let him sit for it. Let him sit. That's how I look at it, baby.
Is that all we got? We got anything else?
I think it is. Let's double, triple check real quick.
Dude, I love the Trask Jones take over Wilson and Lance. No one's saying that.
Well, because this is the thing.
I think you're the first guy.
Because people are looking at it solely from an upside standpoint. If you want upside, okay, great. But I can name you a list of upside guys that never materialized. And that, to me, I don't like that. I don't want to take that chance just for the sake of, well, I got to take a quarterback. We're picking at 6. Let me get this guy. But if you're the Jets, you're handcuffed right now because you got rid of Darnold. So you absolutely have zero choice. The Niners, they're intriguing, but they're still going to take a quarterback.
They have to with that trade.
Absolutely.
Now they're saying they're going to keep Jimmy G.
That's what I'm saying. So to me,
nonsense.
I'm just like both of those teams, like they've handcuffed themselves where they have to hope that these guys come in here and can be the guy day one to materialize. But I just don't think they are going to do it.
Why aren't they trading Jimmy G?
I don't get that either.
They're going to have to. I mean,
unless they go, because
we heard the same thing from the Cardinals whenever.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened? No, they were just the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And Kingsbury came in. Everyone's like, oh, because of connection with Kyler Murray, they're going to take him. Then they said, no, we're not trading Josh Rosen. I believe in him. They ended up doing it. So, I feel like that's still going to be the case with the 49ers.
I mean, you got to, right? Because we said the scenario where this works is if you already have a veteran guy who is the face of the franchise.
Jimmy G still needs to prove himself.
Exactly. So he's not going to be in a position to want a mentor. He's not going to be in a position to be comfortable with this guy behind him. A guy coming in behind Ben, a guy coming in behind Matt Ryan, a guy coming in behind Brady is different. You know what I mean? Like, you already know, like, yo, that's their team. This is the guy. He's going to be starting next year, period. Out in San Fran, they draft one of these guys, man, Jimmy G over here looking like, whoa, who sits in the first chair, coach? Me or him? You know what I mean? Like, it's that type of conversation. That's not what you want. That ain't, nah. And when we talk about competition at quarterback, I do joke about it, right? And I do like, oh man, we need competition quarterback. But young guys like that, if you're Jimmy G, you need to be in a position where they believe in you, where they're gonna put a support system around you, and they're not gonna be looking over you, picking and choosing. All right, well, he had a bad game this week. You know what? Maybe we should switch it. I'm good on that right now.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to move him though, man.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But how sad are the Patriots on Cam? Because that's one of the definitely like one of the trade rumors is Jimmy G back to the Patriots. But I don't know if that's a competition. It seems like Cam and Belichick got this connection.
Listen, what they gave Cam 1 year, $14 million, I think it was, after last year's performance, they believe in Cam. They've seen something in him throughout the season, whether it was, all right, well, we're seeing in practice or a couple of these games. And they also understood that, hey, we had the league leading amount of guys opt out because of COVID. Then we had injuries. We haven't drafted well. They even talked about that as well. They
brought those 2 tight ends in.
Yeah. So if you are, Belichick, you're probably saying to yourself, well, listen, I feel like Cam, and if he thinks he's healthy enough, he's like, yo, I think this guy is more dynamic. He can fit what we want to do. I want to do some more of this zone read stuff anyways because it's how much pressure it puts on the defense. This is the guy we want. He believes in him. And I think the contract, the 1 year for 14, shows that, okay, we're going to see if this is what we think it can be with some better pieces around you. Now, if it doesn't materialize next year, then yeah, they'll move on and do what they do. But I don't see them making that trade for Jimmy G right now, man.
Who knows where he could go?
Yeah. I mean, if you're one of these
backup.
But imagine if you're one of these quarterback hungry teams. If you're the Jets, for example, would you
just open competition?
Yeah, like if you're the Jets, are you viewing Jimmy G as a better player than Zach Wilson or Trey Lance right now? Not that they would make that move, but
I think they would just take the rookie quarterback for the headlines and everything.
But that's something I think. I'm just like, man, are they gonna be better year one than what he is right now? I don't think they will. But if you're a different team, if you're that new head coach over there, you're probably saying to yourself, hey, I want to go with my guy. I want to get this new piece that hasn't been tainted with, hasn't been a part of this organization or that organization, no baggage on it. Just let me come here and mold him and see what I can do with him. If you're the Jets, that's probably going to be your approach anyways. But as a whole, that's the thing with Jimmy G, though. It's just like, where are you trading him? Or what could be a potential partner for him, for that trade? And what's he worth? You giving up first-round picks for him? What you giving up? Right? That's another thing, right?
6th rounder? Not even that. I think he would go somewhere to be the backup. I really do. If you go from team by team, it's going to be tough.
You think he's worth less than Sam Darnold though?
Oh yeah. What do you think?
You think he's not as good as Darnold? Darnold got what, a 6th round this year, and then a second and 4th
Darnold
round
still
pick
got
next
upside
year.
in my opinion. That's what I think. We already
so we still hanging on the potential. All right.
I think so.
Whereas one guy's led his team to the Super Bowl.
That's fair. Better system. I think a lot of people would make the argument if Sam Darnold was the 49ers, that it'd be similar.
Well, we're going to find out. We'll find out in Carolina this year with
good
Darnold,
system down there. Yeah.
But so far, and Jimmy G has been in 2 very good system places in terms of New England and in San Fran. But everywhere he's been successful. We don't have a lot of bad Jimmy G games. It's not like, oh, man, this dude stunk it up all year. No. Like, when he's out there, they win. He's a winner. He definitely is that, man.
Yeah. It's, not to say he's better than one person or another. I just think based on where everyone is in terms of organizationally, like the teams that need a quarterback, I think they're just going to take the high upside guys. And then if you're have a mid-tier quarterback like Derek Carr, you're just going to stick with what you know. You're not going to bring in Jimmy G. Let's just keep rolling with Derek Carr. So I think he's in a tough spot. I don't know. That's what I mean. I don't know who would take him as a starter right now. Apparently the 49ers, based off what they're saying. He's still their guy.
That's it. Hey.
But I don't believe it.
Yeah. They we've seen this before. We've heard this before. Yeah, we're not trading. That's our guy. We're committed. Yeah, okay. Even wasn't the Bengals, they waited for a while to trade Dalton after the fact. Didn't they trade him like right before OTA started?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like, they definitely had him on for a little while though. Yeah. But either way, it's all good. I like it. Anything else, man? We good? Any hot topics? What you got? You got anything hot?
I don't have any hot topics. No, my main thing was the Micah Parsons trade up. Yeah. We already talked about that. And then, I guess Sam Darnold trade. But that's, what did you think of it?
I like the Panthers giving up the 6th round pick. I don't like them giving up the 2nd and 4th round and picking up the 5th year option. They guaranteed the 5th year option, so that's $20 million he's going to get next year. So even if he comes in here and he plays terrible this year, you're still on the hook for the $20 million that you're going to pay him that following year. That's a high end, like we talk about high end backup stuff like that. I don't want a $20 million backup quarterback. That's just me personally. So for the money that they've already committed to him, I feel like he has to be the guy for Carolina. Yeah. He has to come out here and do, what they think he's capable of doing. But that's a lot of money that you're throwing out there for the hope of that potential. But that's what we said we're going to see, right? Because you feel like he still has that ceiling on him. I think that, in the right situation, he could do well. But that's, like I said, we're going to see, man.
That's what they're probably thinking based off what he's done with New York thus far and that shitty organization, that shitty system, and some of the talent that he has. He's probably better than whoever they would have got at, what was their pick, like 9 or 10?
Yeah, initially, yeah.
So that's what I'm assuming that they're thinking. And he's still young. Like, he came out, like, really young.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Because they were showing a stat with Sam Darnold, and they were saying that his age compared to Brady and Rodgers at that age, I think they said Rodgers hadn't taken a snap, and Brady had played maybe 1 or 2 games to that point. And they were just like, well, why is everybody so quick to write off Darnold, knowing his situation and seeing how young he is, whereas these other 2 guys that we view as, all-time greats, at that same age, they had nowhere near the productivity from him. So we'll see, though, man. I still...
23. He's going to be 24 when the season
super
starts.
Young, yes. Definitely young, man.
Yeah, if you believe in him.
But that's the thing. Do you believe in him to that extent?
So basically, how are we looking at this? So 2nd, 6th, and 4th round picks.
Yeah. 6th round pick this year, 2nd and 4th round pick next year, plus them guaranteeing the 5th year option, which is $20 million.
I don't know if I like the 2nd round pick for him. Like, I don't know if that was going to be what his value was whenever we were talking about it, right? Yeah. Wasn't it dipping?
Well, we said 3rd round. Yeah, it was third. And we thought he was just waiting to get cut. That was the other thing we said, just wait. And, yeah, they have to get rid of him. But
maybe there was a market, though. Maybe there were teams competing. Based off what they got for him.
Or if you're the Panthers and you just said, I like this guy wanting to be my quarterback and I don't want to deal with the bidding game, because he could always say, I'll take less, but I like this system better. Sure. Or it's another team out there that's willing to pay him more, and that can make it a little dicey. So that's why the draft picks, I didn't have as big an issue. It was the 5th year option you picking up right now when you haven't even seen what this year is going to look like from an audition standpoint. Like, I want to at least see what this looks like before I'm going to pick up that 5th year. But for them,
that's fair.
Yeah, but for them, they're like, no, we're going to take that as well. And here, take these draft picks. It's like, geez, you're doing a lot.
That is a really good point because this could go bad.
Imagine if it looks like what Teddy Bridgewater looked like, right? Because they paid Teddy Bridgewater nice last year. But what it showed, it was like, all right, it's good, but he's more mid-tier than franchise quarterback, which is why they made the move that they made. But you could realistically be in the same situation if Darnold comes out here and now in this better system, better coaching staff, more stability, and it's like, all right, it wasn't those things. He just isn't good. Now you're still on the hook that following year.
Value's gonna tank for a potential trade.
Yeah.
Too. It might be hard to trade him if the scenario plays out where he's just not good next year. Like who's gonna want to take the chance the Panthers are taking on Sam Darnold right now if he plays bad next year? Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Because I initially liked it just from all right, yeah, Panthers are looking for a quarterback. Sam Darnold, there's still some upside there. Doesn't seem like the picks are that much. I don't really like the second rounder, but man, you bringing up that $20 million, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, that was the thing when they said they're going to pick up that 5th-year option. I was like, whoa, what? Yikes! Like,
if he balls out, it's a good deal.
Well, yeah, what have we seen to this day so far?
Hey, it's life, man. You got to take your chances.
I'm just like, man, this is the thing I don't like. When you're most known for seeing ghosts and having mono, I don't like that. That's not a good vibe. It's kind of like Mark Sanchez. What is he known for? The butt fumble. It's like certain guys, I don't want you to be known for that. I want you to be known for something better than that, man. And we just haven't seen that consistently yet.
Sure.
But time will tell, man. Time will definitely tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think that's it for today, baby.
Is that it?
That was a vibe.
That was fun, man.
That was
fun. Some drafts, some speculation, some rumors. That's good.
Some comments and questions, man. Shout out to everybody that was tuning in, man. We definitely appreciate y'all showing major love. I'm going to say this again because I've been hitting the button but haven't been saying it. Make sure y'all subscribing, man. If y'all up here, make sure y'all subscribing, checking it out, and copping the merch, man. Y'all know y'all like the Arthur Most Experience with Deke podcast. Show some love. Get a shirt. Get a hoodie. Get a coffee mug. But whatever you do, man, make sure y'all stay safe, enjoy yourselves, and until next time,
peace.